This time on RadRat Video, we're talking about Skatepark Anxiety and a few other things. Let's get into it. Welcome back to RadRat Video, a channel where you can learn new things about skateboarding. I do biographies of your favorite skaters. I teach tricks sometimes. I review old video games that suck and lots of other skateboarding related things, such as answering your questions. First one from today is from Egan, who says, do you have any updates regarding your experience with the DKL non-abrasive grip tape? What type of grip are you using now, and what is your reasoning for that decision? Would you still recommend DKL's grip today? So DKL makes a type of rubber grip tape that kind of feels like a ping pong paddle. And the idea is that it grips without ripping chunks of your shoe off as you flick. And I did a video where I did, I'll find it, I'll put it right there. It's been a couple years though, where I did 100 kickflips on I did 100 kickflips on the DKL grip and 100 switch flips on normal grip and compared the shoes afterward. And it was a big difference. It really kept my shoes going. It didn't do nearly as much damage. The only downsides were getting used to the different grip. It was hard to say that it was grippier or less grippy, but it just felt different. So it took a while to kind of start to get tricks back, but after I didn't even think about it anymore. The other problem was that it would kind of peel off. They were saying that if you leave your board in the car and it would get super hot and like bake all day, that the grip would start to peel off. And I do have an old board over there. I think I ended up peeling off and replacing it where the grip was kind of coming up. So I didn't switch from them necessarily. I just ran out. They sent me like 5 sheets when I agreed to test it for them before. So I ran out, I got a new board, and then I bought another new board because I needed 2 separate sizes to review some trucks. So I set up 2 boards with just standard like Jessup or Black Magic or whatever it was. But I do have DKL again now. So they sent me their newest, which they updated the adhesive, and they now have a branded like a file that you can use. So I set this up according to their specifications. Although you might be able to tell there's some bubbles in it. It wasn't very bright where I was doing it. It looked like it was perfect until I got under some light. The other problem I have is with the bolts or the hardware, because this grip is like thicker. So normally the only thing I do when I put on normal grip tape is I poke it through this way to find where the spot is and poke that through and then just tighten it. I don't have to like remove material. Sometimes you punch it, like a hole punch, and you get a little circle of grip tape that comes out the bottom. But with this stuff, even with a razor, I was trying to like cut a hole in it, try to trim off material, but it always kind of forms these like high spots. We'll see how that ends up performing. I'm sure it'll be fine. That's how it was last time. But yeah, this is my new 2020 board. This is a Red F, which is the brand. It's a carbon fiber board. It's got 1 carbon fiber ply. Obviously the whole thing isn't carbon fiber, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying this, but I've been very sick and it's been winter. So yeah, it's not that I stopped recommending it or anything. I just ran out, and it was just, I had a ton of leftover standard grip. So I do still think it's cool. If your shoes wearing away is a problem, and you can deal with the difficulty in installing it and stuff like that, definitely still worth thinking about. Next question is from Nick, who says, are varial kickflips easier than kickflips? Yes, at first. I think the hardest thing that differentiates them when you're first learning is like when you have your feet set up, you have to flick off to the side, so you kind of like open up front side to do it. Like, not really, that's a big exaggeration of what you do, but when you're learning, it kind of feels like that. Like you're flicking this foot way out that way, and it feels, like it's just kind of tough. But if you pop the board a little bit backside, you can just flick straight, and you can see it a little bit easier and stuff like that. I don't think landing a varial flip is easier, especially later. Like as you get used to kickflips, like doing a varial flip is actually kind of hard. But if you just kind of like don't want to move your body that way, it'll spin a little bit. Maybe you spin halfway to catch up with it. And then you either adjust that or you adjust it in the other way. So you either learn how to do it straight or you just shove it the rest of the way and do the varial. I'd say it's definitely a toss-up at first, but I'd stick with learning them straight. You really need to nail that down. That's a very important base trick. The next question is from Kane, who says, what would be a standard pressure flip? Like when someone says they can pressure flip, what kind of flip is the usual if not specified, if you can even have a standard pressure flip? Well, the original pressure flip, the earliest one I ever found was Hasse Lindgren in 1984, and he did the inward heel flip style. So if anyone says pressure flip, what they mean is the inward heel flip style. It's been that way for the longest time, through the 80s into the 90s when it hit street finally and people were doing them. If you just said pressure flip, it meant the inward heel flip version, because that one just works. If you do a straight pressure flip, which is kind of what you have to say now, like in an ideal world, a straight pressure flip would be a pressure flip, just for the linguistics of trying to figure out how to talk about it. But if you want to do a pressure flip and actually catch it and have it be like a consistent, doable trick, the inward heel flip style is the easiest. Doing it straight, like a straight heel flip, is not that hard, but your foot position's weird. The board doesn't really get up in the air. It just kind of like tips up and flips, and then you kind of catch it and come back down like that. So no one was really doing it that way. And then as pressure flips became popular, people started to do different versions of it. And then we got in trouble with, how do we name all these now? If that's a normal pressure flip, what if you do it straight? What if you do a hard flip with it instead? That trick works just as well, except your foot position is really crazy when you do it. So yeah, they mean an inward heel flip. Although I remember on forums back in the day, and like the freestyle forums and everything, we would call it like a toe side pressure flip would be like doing the, popping the toe side to make it flip like a heel flip. So it's like a toe side, like a backside toe side heel flip, and heel side front shove pressure flip, whatever. We had all these names, but if you meet someone on the street who says I can pressure flip, they mean inward heel flip. The next question is from Tyler, who says, I've been wondering for a while now what happened to your old series brand breakdowns. So if you haven't seen those before, here's a playlist of them. I was doing like a documentary on a company. So instead of a person and a pro skater and like a biography of their life, it was about, Toy Machine was started on such and such date. And in this press release, they said this and this, and they went out of business when they, whatever, like that type of stuff. And I did a few of those, and they're just as much work as doing the people, and those are really popular. But the brand breakdowns were never as big of a deal. People didn't really grab onto them as much. I never canceled the series or anything per se. I just haven't done one in a long time. And I was actually talking with my research assistant recently, and we were talking about maybe doing one again in the future. So yeah, hang tight. We'll see. I'm going to do one eventually. I just don't know where to prioritize it is a thing. Last question is from Max, who says, do you ever get skatepark anxiety? Do you become insecure around better, younger skaters at the skate park? I'm 25. I have been on and off skating for 17 years. I am at an intermediate level, but nowhere near what the younger skaters at the skate park can do. So it has deterred me from going. Sometimes I go at 7 a.m. when it's empty instead. Am I overthinking? Does anyone actually care? I don't think anyone cares, and you are overthinking it. But that's a lot for me to say because I feel the exact same way. So, I have been to a lot of skate parks, and I've done lots of really bad tricks. I have pushed once and bailed out of a no slide because it freaked me out, and then I came back and I landed it. And it's something that's even easy for me, which in street skating, stuff that's easy for me is garbage, So I'll land something and people are always excited about it. At least the skate parks I've been to, by me, you can do any trick. If you do a 50-50 grind on the curb that's this tall and you land it and you are happy about it, people are going to be pounding their boards and stuff. They don't care. Even if you're an older guy and it looks like you should probably be good by now, you're 25, I'm in my 30s. You'd think by now I've been skating for 20 years. that I should be able to do anything I want first try. And it's just not like that. But I've never had anyone like make fun of me or anything. And I had opportunities for it. So I was at this new skate park. They opened it up, but it's not officially open because I didn't finish the landscaping. So it's all just bare dirt around it, which means that the ground always has like this fine layer of dirt on it. So like I was skating and they set it up where there's like your run to come up to the ledge is like this, and the run to hit this bank over here is like this. So you're always like passing people. Not my favorite idea, but anyway, so I do a grind or whatever, and I land and I look up and there's a kid flying toward me. So I like go to drag my foot to slow down, but I drag my foot onto some loose like sand and it doesn't slow down at all. And I just like shoot out. And there's some people sitting right there. So from their perspective, I do a trick and then I go to push or something, and then I'm on the ground. Like I don't even know what happened. I was starting to drag my foot, and then I was looking up at the clouds. I don't even know how I fell, but no one laughed at me. They're like, "Oh, are you okay?" You know, no one cares. No one's gonna sit back and like make fun of you for not catching your kickflip high enough or whatever. You know, it's not like that. But at the same time, I do feel the exact same thing you do. When I did my video, I did a tricks and tribulations on a kickflip 5-0 shove it, which I did right here. I did that at 9 in the morning, which it's super cold out. It was that January? I think that was in January. It was super cold out. So 9 was like when it started to get okay outside. I figured that was as early as I could get when the sun is up and it's, you know, like filmable and it's not gonna be super cold. Just to try to avoid all the people. And this skate park is empty. There's no ramps there anymore or anything. You can see that in the video, but there's always just tons of kids there running around and doing stuff. And it's not like I'm worried about the kids because they're all on scooters or they just run on their feet up because there's like one set of ramps that's built in. There's like just kids that kind of play there, or they're like throwing rocks at each other over there or whatever they do. I'm not worried about them critiquing my skating, but I'm always thinking about being watched, you know, and it really messes with me. Being on camera is kind of hard. I'm used to talking to it now, but filming is still difficult. I was skating the other weekend and I just tried to do a trick. I wasn't filming for a video or whatever, but I figured, hey, might as well throw a camera out there anyway in case I do something good. And here's the trick I did. But it's a little bit harder when I'm filming because I'm thinking about, okay, how wide is the lens on this? So with this I normally shoot in the like more narrow GoPro mode, but I went to full wide. And like, am I on frame if I'm over here? Do I get too high where my head is cut off? And I'm thinking about this stuff while I'm skating, and it makes it harder, which is just anxiety. Like, it doesn't matter. This camera is super wide. I can do anything in my whole backyard and you'll see it. It doesn't matter. Just skate. If the footage doesn't come out, whatever, right? But I'm not thinking like that. I'm thinking all this stuff. There was another time I was at the skate park and I landed a trick and I did an impossible afterward, which for me, not a big deal. I've been doing that trick for a long, long, long time. It's one of my most consistent tricks. So I do it, I land, I roll off, and there's this other guy standing there. He's like, whoa, I've never done impossible before. That trick doesn't make any sense to me. Can you show me how to do that? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. He's like, okay. And he starts to watch. And I bail it like 6 times. I never landed it again while he was paying attention. Like I said, I've been doing that trick for a long time. I can land a trick and just throw it, and I'm 90% sure I'll roll away from it. But as soon as someone says, hey, that was cool, let me watch it, now I can't do it. So I know what you're talking about. I think a lot of people feel the same way. If it helps at all for me to say nobody cares and everyone's stoked when you land anything, no one's judging you. We're all on your side. Maybe the weird scooter kid doesn't like what you're doing. But as for all of us skaters, like, you're fine. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. So that's it for now. If you've got any questions, go to radratvideo.com and submit them on the homepage, or you can submit them through Patreon if you sponsor me there, and I will definitely answer it. You can subscribe by tapping my logo on screen. There's more videos in the sidebar, and hit the like button, do all that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.